Chapter 6. The Giants. "But if you are so nice and friendly," Sophie said, "then why did you snatch me from my bed and ran away with me?" "Because you saw me," the big friendly giant answered. "If anyone is seeing a giant, he or she must be taken away hip switch." "Why?" asked Sophie. "Well, first of all," said the BFG, "human beings is not really believing in giants, is they? Human beings is not thinking we exist." "I do," Sophie said. "Ah, but that is only because you have seen me," cried the BFG. "I cannot possibly allow anyone, even little girls, to be seeing me and staying at home. The first thing you would be doing, you would be scuttling around, yodeling the news that you were actually seeing a giant. And then a great giant hunts a mighty giant look-see would be starting up all over the world, with the human beings all rummaging for the great giant you saw and getting wildly excited. People would be coming and rushing and bushing after me with goodness knows what, and they would be catching me and locking me up and putting me into a cage to be stared at. They would be putting me in the zoo or the bunkum house with all those squiggling hippo dumplings and crocodile-down dillies." Sophie knew that what the giant said was true. If any person reported actually having seen a giant haunting the streets of a town at night, there would most certainly be a terrific hullabaloo across the world. "I will bet you," the BFG went on, "that you would have been splashing the news all over the wonky world, wouldn't you, if I hadn't wiggled away?" "I suppose so. And that would never do," said the BFG. "So what will happen to me now?" Sophie said. "If you do go back, you'll be telling the world," said the BFG. "Most likely on a telly bunkum box on the radio speaker. So you'll just have to be staying here with me for the rest of your life." "Oh no," cried Sophie. "Oh yes," said the BFG. "But I'm warning you not ever to go whiffling about of this cave without I is with you, because you will be coming to an ucky-mucky end if you do. I is showing you now who is going to eat you up if they is ever catching even one tiny little glimpse of you." The big friendly giant picked Sophie off the table, carried her to the cave entrance. He rolled the huge stone to one side and said, "Peep over there, little girl, and tell me what you see." Sophie, sitting on the BFG's hand, peeped out of the cave. The sun was up now and shining fiery hot over the great yellow wasteland with its blue rocks and dead trees. "Is you seeing them?" the BFG asked. Sophie, squinting through the glare of the sun, saw several tremendous tall figures moving among the rocks. And there they are. Can you see them? Those big giants. And they were only a few 100 meters away. 3 or 4 others were sitting quite motionless on the rocks themselves. "This is giant country," the BFG said. "Those is all giants, every one." It was a brain-boggling sight. The giants were all naked except for a sort of short skirt around their waists, and their skins were burnt by the sun. But it was the sheer size of each one of them that boggled Sophie's brain most of all. They were simply colossal, far taller and wider than the big friendly giant upon whose hand she was now sitting. And oh, how ugly they were. Many of them had large bellies. All of them had long arms and huge feet. They were too far away for their faces to be seen clearly, and perhaps that was a good thing. "What on earth are they doing?" Sophie asked. "Nothing," said the BFG. "They is just moochling and foochling around and waiting for the night to come. Then they will all be galloping off to places where people is living to find their suppers." "What, you mean to Turkey?" "Bone-crunching giant will be galloping to Turkey, of course, but the others will be whiffling off to all sorts of flung-away places like Wellington for the booty flavour and Panama for the hatty taste. Every giant is having his own favourite hunting ground." "Do they ever go to England?" Sophie asked. "Often," said the BFG. "They say the English is tasting ever so wonderfully of cod scallop." "I'm not sure I quite know what that means," Sophie said. "Meanings ain't important," said the BFG. "I cannot be right all of the time. Quite often I is left instead of the right." "And are all those beastly giants over there really going off again tonight to eat people?" "All of them is guzzling human beings every night. All of them excepting of me. That is why you will be coming to an ucky-mucky end if any of them would ever be getting their gogglers upon you. You would be swallowed up like a piece of framkin pie, all in one dollop." "But eating people is horrible," Sophie cried. "It's frightful. Why doesn't someone stop them?" "And who, please, is going to be stopping them?" asked the BFG. And there's Sophie sitting on the BFG's hands, and look at his huge ears. "Couldn't you stop them?" Sophie asked. "Never in a pig's whistle," cried the BFG. "All of those man-eating giants is enormous and very fierce. They is all at least 2 times my wideness and double my royal highness." "Twice as high as you," cried Sophie. "Easily that," said the BFG. "You'll be seeing them in a distance, but just wait till you get them close up. Those giants is at least 50 feet tall, with huge muscles and cockles alive, oh. I is the titchy one, I is the runt. 24 feet is puddle nuts in giant country." "Oh, you mustn't feel bad about that," Sophie said. "I think you're just great. Why, even your toes must be as big as sausages." "Bigger," said the BFG, looking pleased. "They is as big as bumple hammers." "How many giants are there? You know, out there?" "9 altogether," answered the BFG. "That means," said Sophie, "that somewhere in the world every single night 9 wretched people get carried away and eaten alive." "More," said the BFG. "It is all depending, you see." "What do you mean?" "Well, some human beings are small and some human beings are big. Quite often people from Japan, they're quite small. And people from Norway and those Yankee Doodles is ever so much bigger and usually 2 or 3 times the size. And they make a very good tuck-in." "But do these disgusting giants go to every single country in the world?" Sophie asked. "All countries excepting Greece. The country which a giant visits is depending on how he is feeling. If it's very warm, then the giant is feeling hot. He'll probably go galloping far up to the Frisbee North and get someone from the Arctic. Be a bit like an ice lolly for him. I'll take your word for it. And then again, if it's a frosty night and the giant is very, very cold, he'll probably point his nose towards the sweltering hotlands to guzzle a few Hottentots to warm him up." "Oh, how perfectly horrible," Sophie said. Nothing hots a cold joint up like a hot hottentot. And if you were to put me down on the ground and I was to walk out among them now, Sophie said, would they really eat me up? Like a whipswiddle, cried the BFG. And what is more, you is so small they wouldn't even have to chew you up. The first one to be seen, you would pick you up in his fingers and down you go like a drop of drain water. Oh, let's go back inside, Sophie said. I hate even watching them. And that's the end of chapter 6. See you soon.